The following is an exclusive production of Minuteman Command. The Flagship Pod with your hosts, ESPN personalities Mike Corey and Rene is on the air. Brought to you by Todd Fritz Roofing with insight and info from UMass and Mac Insiders. From the Command Studios, here are your hosts, Mike and Rene.
All right, we finally got to it. It's game week, and when this is out, we are 3 days away from the opener. We're fired up, Mike and Rene with you. All right, bud, you all set? I mean, you already got one game under your belt, so you're good to go.
Listen, knocked the cobwebs off. Did that FCS game last Saturday. It was so this is a perfect example for UMass fans, okay? I had Nichols hosting Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word ranked 4th in the nation. You know, Incarnate Word's a school. Cam Ward was there, so they had the first pick ever. Right. Their quarterback last year was Zach Calzada. He's now the starter at Kentucky. So even the FCS schools, right, with the transfers. But Incarnate Word last season beat Nichols 55-10. 55-10. Ranked 4th in the nation. Nichols has a new coach, Tommy Rybacki. They promoted him this year. Going to this game, Vegas had Incarnate Word a 17-point favorite. It was at Nichols. Nichols beat the crap out of them. Defensively, 11 TFLs, 4 sacks. I mean, so there's the 180 I'm talking about, man. It can happen. None of the Nichols people, I talked to everyone in the press box like we do. Yeah. No one saw that coming. So my point is, man, be excited, be ready to go, be positive. And you're right, 3 days, man. So, but for me personally, cobwebs are knocked off, so I'll be good for my Thursday game, UCF Jacksonville State, and then my Friday game, App State, Charlotte. But and then you're going out to Provo, Utah.
Yeah, I'm going out to Utah. Then you'll be able to sit down and watch the UMass game and just be like, all right, finally, like it's.
And that was the conundrum because I'm going to fly back early Saturday morning, but I didn't want to miss the Corso game day.
Oh, right.
But I fly Delta, so I should be able to watch it, and it'll probably be played, on social media. But yeah, I will be back for the UMass game, so I'm excited, man.
Yeah, this is awesome. I was watching some stuff with Harasymiak the other day in the press conference, getting ready for this Temple matchup. And we got a great special guest coming on, too. So let's kind of bring him in right now. The voice of the Minutemen, Jay Burnham, is with us, and we're going to get his take.
Hey.
What's going on? What's happening,
man? How you guys doing?
Great to see you.
I hear love of college football in both of your voices.
Right?
We're ready.
Exactly. It's kind of what you just said, Rene. It's like 1 year you are out of it, you stink. The next year you're a world beater. I mean, you just saw it in week 1. Jay, I know we're all we're hoping the same thing for UMass this year too,
Yeah, and if you ask me how I felt in January versus how I felt now, it would be totally different, right? I think I've had some time to digest exactly where we are and where we're coming from. And I've actually kind of recounted this the last couple of weeks, thinking about how UMass went through the season a year ago. They took Miami to the finish line on the road, one missed field goal and an extra point away from beating Liberty, and then had a lead against NIU on the road at the half and ultimately lost a close one. So they have been in games, and I think you got to give the previous staff a lot of credit for the way that they were able to kind of bring things back together. It was a rough 3 years prior, and then, they didn't get the wins, and unfortunately that's the problem. But I think they were very competitive, and there's a lot of that talent that carries over along with what Coach Harasymiak and his staff have brought in. So there's no reason to not be excited. The real issue is Temple week 1. You've got 2 power conferences that you still have to play. This first game means so much for this team. It's going to be great.
I know that, dude. This is what I said last year. I mean, I hate to say it, but I was like, it was the Eastern Michigan game. I said, yeah, if we don't win this game, the season's over. Yeah. I'm not saying it now, but I was like, you know what I mean? Because you win this game, obviously you should be able to beat Bryant, and then it's tough with those other 2. So you're 2-2. But if you're 1-3 and you're uphill the whole rest of the year, not cool.
And it's gonna be different going forward, right? I mean, you had 9 years of independent lack of success, and you've got these games that you still have to kind of play because of where you were 9 years ago. Going forward, you would hope that you slide a UConn in there or an FIU, a Conference USA team, as opposed to having two power schools. And all of a sudden that one group of 5 team that you play this year, there'd be 2 on the schedule. So that's part of the ultimate change that's going to happen as we kind of get further and further into being a MAC full team, full program organization.
And to Jay's point, back up a little bit, that team last year was not a 2-10 team at all. They let a lot of games slip away. And I hate to beat a dead horse. And, Jay, you saw every game. Special teams was abysmal last year. And I think it's going to be a 180 this year. I think that's going to win UMass some games. And, the schedule with the 2 Power 4 teams, and we talked to Ryan Bafford last week about that, and so got to deal with it again next year, but we'll get it going. This is a year, too, I think, and I've always said this about the UMass football program. They're going to win a game here along the line, and I got a feeling it's going to be this year. It's a game that no one expects them to win.
Right.
And that just will put them in a good position to move forward. And you talked about the returning players, because Donnie did a good job. He had a good core. And I think what Joe added, Brandon Rose at quarterback, all the quarterbacks, really. I think it's a real quarterback room. Rocco Griffin, I think, is a great running back. I mean, the pieces they've added, I think, are really good. So I'll get your take, Jay. Is this the best roster that you think they've compiled since you've met the voice there?
Yeah, let me just address what you said before about the special teams, right? And if you talk to any MAC coach, I think at MAC Media Day, every head coach said this. Look, special teams in this conference is the difference between, winning the conference or being a 2-win team. And credit UMass for recognizing, hey, look, like this is an issue and we got to fix it and we need to step up our resources. And so that's what they've done with this new staff and bringing in Coach Castellito from Dartmouth, a guy that will just focus on special teams. And I think that's one of those things that might get lost because you were so busy putting out so many other fires and issues that you had to rebuild a line and a D-line and a quarterback room and all those things that you had to kind of try and cheat on that a little bit. Well, they don't do that anymore this year. And the guys they have that I've seen in practice, from a punting perspective, from a field goal perspective, it's not just one guy. They have multiple guys that you feel should be able to get it done. So I think that's going to be a huge key, as you mentioned. And then 2, about the returning guys. I mean, think about this. Last year you lost, before the season started, your best returning wide receiver in Anthony Simpson. And week 1, a couple of plays in, you lost your starting tackle in Luke Payton. So Payton back, he's on the depth chart. Those came out yesterday for both teams. I mean, just that is a boost alone for what this team is going to enter into 2025.
Jay, what have you recognized, like from talking to guys, the coaching staff, this whole preseason? I want to get a little bit more of an inside, for the fans and people like, someone like yourself who's like really in the thick of it. What's impressed you the most, or is there a player or 2 or somebody that you like to highlight? I'm like, hey, keep an eye out for this guy or whatever.
Yeah. A couple things. The one thing I'm going to highlight is how the coaching staff operates and what the culture that they've been brought in. But I think just funny in general in the world that we live in, you go look at any press conference, any coach from spring ball to fall camp, they don't mention individual guys anymore because everyone's so scared. If you pump somebody up, and even in your guys' calls, right? And you're talking to coaches, you're like, hey, who are you looking out for? And they're like, well, the whole offensive line is really good. Because they know guys can just use that information that is out there and then cash in and go somewhere else. So I think it's difficult now for guys in our business to figure out exactly who the coaches are really leaning on. But the attention to detail, and not just on the field, for what I've seen from the staff, the way they operate with our SIDs, the way they operate with our creative group, the way that they just think about things, they've questioned everything and just trying to figure out what's right and how to operate and do things the correct way. And I've got tremendous faith in Coach Harasymiak and the staff, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them on the field.
So going off that, Jay, you talked about the depth chart coming out. I want you to get your thoughts on that. But they also named the captains. Mike probably didn't see this. Mike was golfing yesterday, a long drive.
Look at that. He's tan. He's got a
charity,
hair.
Of course, for charity. Yes, go ahead.
So they named 6 captains, and I like what they did. 2 from special teams, 2 from offense, 2 from defense. So if you don't know, the special team teamers. Punter Keegan Andrews, which Mike and I love. We talked to him this springtime. Big Australian punter. And it's Giovanni Bourbon, correct? The long snapper.
Yeah, long snapper. Yeah,
love that. Offense, Rocco Griffin, running back. And Gibby, Jaquan Gibson, one of the wide receivers. And then defense, Shamel Davis, big D lineman, and Darian Craig, who plays like the star kind of linebacker type position. Strong safety. What do you think about those picks for the captains?
Yeah, and actually, Coach Harasymiak addressed this yesterday.
Voted by the team, I should say, too.
Yeah, he said they voted on him, and then he kind of backed it up. He said, if I could put my vote in, I would have had those guys. So, look, the way that you get to bring a couple of guys to Media Day, which the MAC hosts in Detroit, and they brought Rocco Griffin. This is a guy that has been around college football significantly. UMass has multiple guys in their 6th and 7th years of college football, including on the offensive line. And so I think that tells you that there's a lot of leadership that they're going to be counting on this year from those guys, and they're really going to lean on Rocco. But I should say this, the one room that they really had to rebuild was the running back room. Yeah. And they had actually pretty good running backs last year. They all go elsewhere. Okay, that's the world we live in. No one's going to cry about it anymore. Rocco Griffin, Brandon Hood from Colorado, who was a pretty big prospect there. And I think they were upset when he left. And so UMass will certainly hopefully benefit from him. And Juwan Price is a guy that we saw here a couple of years ago in New Mexico State, put up 150 yards, can catch the ball out of the backfield, can be that kind of scat back guy. So I think under Rocco, of course, will be the headline there, but they've got other guys that I think they're going to look to contribute offensively this year.
Hopefully the buzz around campus and everything starts to pick up a little bit too, Jay. I mean, I know we've talked about this for years, and we've beat it to death here too on this pod as well. But it's like, you got to get the support, and you got to get it now. You can't just be like, well, when they win, stop. Just get there, embrace the games, the MAC, whatever. Let's go. You know what I mean? I really hope it's a big day on Saturday.
Yeah, look, let me just throw Chancellor Javier Reyes into this, as well as Athletic Director Ryan Bamford, because that's been one of their goals, right? Is to how do we get people excited about this? And that's what they want to do. And so Chancellor Reyes actually came to our all-staff meeting on Monday and told us, look, we don't just want you guys to have success. We want you to be a part of the entire campus community. And so we need you out there like they need you here. So it's a two-way street, right? Yeah. And I think that's going to be one of the focal points, is how do you get your student athletes more involved? Community service has been huge for Massachusetts. I think it was over 1,500 hours put together by the entire program, the entire department last year. They're looking to eclipse that this season. So that has been a focal point. And they've enhanced different things for game day experience, the food offerings. And so all those things hopefully will contribute to just getting people excited. But, at the end of the day, a big win would certainly help, man. And a big win at home for kids that are in their first or second year here, maybe don't know the full scope of college football, because look, a lot of kids like me come from New England, didn't grow up in that environment. And so coming to a game, having fun tailgating, seeing a big win, watching the band, I mean, all those parts are fully experienced at McGurk Alumni Stadium, and we just need to provide that at a high level for them.
All right, Jay, you talked about depth chart and roster, so I want to get your opinion on that. Any surprises in the two deep that you've seen, and let's start with your thought on Brandon Rose being picked QB1.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, Tyson Pupachong for the last 2 years gave it his all as the starting quarterback. And I think we all know he wasn't the same quarterback that he was at the beginning when he took over because of the injury. So I think with that first year of Tyson Pupachong excluded, this entire quarterback room is more talented than what we've seen post Mark Whipple, for sure. Brandon Rose probably could have had a very successful career at Utah had he not got hurt in that BYU game. And I was reading some of the reports. I think his mom had tweeted something out about the fact that he played through a significant foot injury there. And it feels like a huge get for Massachusetts to have a guy like this. He can run, he can throw. He has a great relationship with Coach Bajakian as an offensive coordinator, who brings a ton of experience at those upper echelon levels here to Amherst. And, I think they have a great relationship. you have a lot of faith in A.J. Harrison and Grant Jordan, who came from Yale, a guy who played significantly the last 2 seasons. I think you should have a lot of confidence in the way that this quarterback room is going to operate. And I think because of the way that they've built this offensive line and the running back room that we just talked about, they're going to have an option to not just be a throw first team or a pass first team. The big question that I think we haven't seen the last couple of seasons is, can you get the tight ends involved a little bit in the passing game? They've had to stay back and block a little bit more. They bring in Reese Adkins on the transfer portal along with a guy named Max Dowling. So hopefully those guys can get involved in the passing game a little bit. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think Brandon Rose is a huge, huge get and a huge, huge win for Massachusetts.
What about the line, though? What about what it's looking like on the offensive line?
Yeah, and it's always questionable. Like, you guys never know who's healthy, right? Like, that's always the question. And week one is always difficult because you never know exactly what the situation is. But I mentioned Luke Payton before, guy that was a left tackle at Columbia. I think they hope that he will anchor that side. And then let me spotlight a Marshfield, Mass native and Ryan Masessa, who's been with this program for several seasons. And this is a guy that, you know, when I was talking to some of the previous staff members, they would say, yeah, he tries, but he's not really there yet. Well, he has worked his way up, and they've got him now starting right tackle on this offensive line. At the center position, which was a position we didn't have to worry about the last 3 years with Josh Atwood, last 4 years really with Josh Atwood. Last year we saw Benjamin Roy Jr., who's a transfer from UCLA, step into that role when Atwood got dinged up, and he did a great job. And so I think you're really good along the line in that first tier. Sullivan Weedman, Sully as they call him, is a left guard transfer from West Virginia. Big body. They like his frame. They like the way he moves. And then at right guard, Mal Glynn II, which is a guy that we didn't see a ton of, I think, on the offensive line last year. He came in on a transfer from Cincinnati. He's in his second year at UMass. So those are just kind of the 5 starting pieces that they have, but there's depth there as well. And they've brought in guys from the Ivy League that have had significant experience, guys, again, in their 5th season in their grad year. And so I think that's also one of the things that UMass will have the ability to have an advantage over some of those MAC schools when you're talking about guys that are good enough to play at this level, but maybe don't have full-on professional aspirations, but want to continue their education in a grad role. Massachusetts would have that advantage over every other team academically in the conference.
Let's go to the defensive side of the ball, Jay. I mean, they added some pieces, especially in the secondary. They got some really good players and experience in the secondary. So talk about the defensive unit.
Yeah, one of the guys that I think they're really high on is Zeron Daniel. He came from Georgetown, 6'1", 205. He's listed at the safety spot. He can cover ground. He can deliver some big hits. I think they're really excited about him. And then the other safety, Jeremiah McGill, who's been here a couple of years, had his first interception 2 years ago at Army. I think they're really, really stacked at the secondary level. You mentioned the star position. I think Don called it the Viper, might be a little bit of that hybrid role. Malcolm Green comes in from the power level. He transfers in. And then Darion Craig, as you referenced earlier, I think a real leader on this team, a guy that just has a nose for the football, will be around the ball at all times. Obviously, the biggest issue for Massachusetts defensively the last decade has been defensive line. And can you stop the run? And that's going to be a big challenge. Shymel Davis comes in from Maine. He's a guy, another leader, a guy they call the dad of the group. And I think they'll really have him play a big role at the nose position to try and mitigate the running game.
Well, it's like looking at the depth chart. I mean, at least just on the 2 deep, there's only 2 underclassmen. Like everybody's either a junior, a senior, a graduate student, right? There's like 2 sophomores. Now, again, you can just say stuff like that. Or, I always joked in the past, Jay, when you heard like, hey, we got a lot of guys back. It's like, well, that's great. Do we want these guys back?
Yeah,
and
no.
like who knows? Like, at least it does show some leadership, guys with some experience. I like the guys from those schools like the Ivies or the FCS programs that have been really good, but now they're stepping up. So they're excited to like do a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's like, this seems like it's a pretty good group here.
Yeah, I think that blend is important, right? Okay, so you want to get guys that have had success on the field at any level, right? And hopefully that translates. And so actually that's what Zeron Daniel had told me and some of the other guys that had transferred up, quote unquote. And then you want to take, I guess, a chance on guys that maybe didn't get to see the field at the higher levels. And how do you blend those together? And then you reference the underclassmen. And look, this is probably, Rene, I don't know what it was like for you when you were playing, if you ever had a shot as a freshman to get out there. But now with the 6th and 7th year guys in the transfer portal, that's harder than ever for these freshmen. But I will say this happens every year. It happens in every sport. I talk to a coach or an assistant or somebody and they say, yeah, the kid's not going to see the field. Like, we don't really know. And then by week 6, he's your starting left guard. And you're like, well, what happened? Well, guys get better, guys get bigger, guys learn the system, and then guys get hurt. And so you ultimately have to have that depth to have success. And when you mentioned this too deep, I don't think there's any full surprises, so to say, but I also think these aren't all the names that you're going to see, especially week 1.
Yeah. And a couple of things just going off that for the younger players, the freshmen, the one good rule the NCAA implemented a few years back is they can play 4 games and not lose their red shirt. So you can play with some of those guys, which is nice if you need them at the end of the season. And the bowl game doesn't count. Let's go bowl game. Getting back to Shamel Davis, I love, and I talk, and Mike does too. I talk to coaches and coordinators every week. I've done it for 16 years, my 16th year at ESPN. Since this portal thing's gone nuts, the group of 5 and Power 4 coaches, for that matter, they love the FCS kids that they've been All-Americans or they've been All-Conference, because you know what you're getting experience, and you're getting a kid with a chip on their shoulder. And there's no doubt that Daniel, that Davis have that chip. And I love that because it's going to show. There's no doubt about it defensively.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. And again, I like the blend of getting those guys. And we're in a world that people don't know what the model of success looks like, right? Because it's so young. And I think you have to take your best approach and just trust your coaches and trust your evaluators and say, look, these guys can play at this level. And I think, we have, like, to go back to some of the skill positions, guys you already have here and guys that you are bringing in, like Tyree Kelly, who in spring at the wideout position, I think caught like 6 or 7 balls. And he's listed
Harding's another one.
Yeah, T.Y.
Harding,
T.Y. took a punt back for a touchdown last year, had a couple of big plays as well. So I think fans should be excited about the level of talent and caliber that they brought in. And let me just say this, as you look at the MAC as a whole, because we're all kind of relearning this, right? I reference NIU, who is leaving the conference after this year. And they had the football world by storm, right? They beat the only team to beat the national champion in Notre Dame was NIU. They won 4 MAC games last year. They went 4-4 in the league. And UMass had a lead on them at half on the road. And so it is, I feel, and they've had Ohio, Miami, guys that have had success, Toledo. But if a team like NIU can beat Notre Dame and still lose 4 games in the MAC, then you feel like it's a wide open situation where you have the ability to get in there and win 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, that is well, and we've seen it. We've seen the upsets, especially over the last, 4 or 5 years with everybody moving around and stuff. And then even the guys like a Rose, right, coming down a little bit, but it's like for him, he was hurt. He never got a chance to show what he could do, really. And now he's like, they almost kind of want to stick it to the other place. Hey, no, I'm really good. You know what I mean? So, and he knows he's going to play. I mean, I think we kind of thought that was going to be the case, and it's like that's exciting too. So
it is. And like, look, you mentioned the 4 game rule with AJ Hairston last year. He's able to retain the red shirt.
Yeah,
what a job he did to fill in at the end of the season. He had some great numbers. I don't have them with me off the top of my head, but he led the offense, and they actually had to rotate him. It was Hairston and Hastings. Hastings gone, Hairston stayed. And so I think that was and Coach Harasymiak said, look, that was a tough choice. But I like the fact, and a lot of these coaches are coy. UMass has to take on Casey Keeler, who probably from your days here, Mike and Rene, was a national championship coach at Delaware, won the national championship at Sam Houston, and then had immediate success at the FBS level, took the Temple job. They haven't announced the quarterback, and we'll probably see 2 quarterbacks that they play. But I like the fact that UMass said, look, this is our guy because we want to go the next 2 weeks in camp, in practice, running the offense as we will on August 30th against Temple.
Yeah, you got to do that.
I was going to say, let's get into that matchup. But first, I don't want Jay to get beat up on X by Ohio State fans. I think you said Notre Dame won the national championship. They were close, but Ohio State did. So I don't want you to get beat up on X because I know.
Right.
Oh my God, they're gonna.
People are crazy. So
yeah,
that would happen. I don't know. Was it New Year's Eve somewhere? I'm not sure.
No, but I know what he was saying. Notre Dame was good. They were really good. To be able to listen. Anybody beating Notre Dame at Notre Dame, I don't care what kind of year they're having, right? I mean,
they could have easily won the national championship, and they're going to be up there again this year.
2 losses for Notre Dame last year, 1 to Ohio State.
Right.
All right, 2 losses. 2 losses to Ohio.
That's what he meant. Like they lost to the team that.
I know exactly what he meant. I was just clarifying it because I know how people are after they.
Okay, Rene. I'm not on X really anymore, so they can yell at me all they want.
Jay, we already said this. I told you this, Rene, too, before. Everybody gives, and you're always going to get a hard time. Okay, you got hundreds of thousands of people listening to you. You can only hope the 3 people say you suck. Okay, like that's all good. Don't worry about it. Don't respond to them. I'm going to challenge you that this year, Rene. Don't get back to those people. Okay.
I usually don't. I usually
no, you hit a couple people back.
The FCS people were very kind. I will say that. Wait, let's get into the matchup a little bit before we let Jay go. And another name I want to throw out there on defense because I've spoken to this kid, D.D. Snyder, a lot of experience, played at Ball State, knows the MAC. Another name to watch. But you mentioned Casey Keeler, and he's being a little coy. And Casey has said this, and I agree with him. He doesn't want to play 2 quarterbacks. I don't think he really ever has, but the 2 quarterbacks we're talking about, Evan Simon, who started for Temple last year, threw for over 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns. Ironically, before that, 3 years he was at Rutgers. So Joe Harasymiak knows him well. Coach Kite, they know him well. Everyone thought since he was a 2,000-yard passer, it was a foregone conclusion he was going to be the starter. They bring in Giovanni McCoy, who really had a lot of success at the FCS level at Idaho, was at Oregon State last year, had about 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. And they're here's the thing, 2 different style quarterbacks. McCoy can make all the passes, but super athletic. Evan Simon, not as much. So what do you think about Casey Keeler kind of playing coy like that? Because I think the comment was UMass will find out who our quarterback is when everyone else does.
Yeah, and I think the tell is that they do the single digit award for certain players get a single digit, and they gave a single digit to Evan Simon. So that would probably tell you that he'll take the first snaps. But
maybe they're like trying to butter him up, right? And then McCoy gets the start. Who knows?
It's an ultimate mind game.
Before you continue, Jay, like Rene, do you think like they're taking number 1 snaps in practice and number 2 and nobody knows about it? Because you can't just be like, roll into the first game and both guys were kind of like half and half. Is that kind of how that works? Do you think someone's getting a leg up? He may not tell us.
They're 100% both getting snaps. But I will say this.
Somebody's got to be.
Tyler Walker is their new offensive coordinator. He was at Montana State. I did a Montana State game in the playoffs last year at FCS. Good young coach. They had DeMott was their quarterback last year. Really good. Little mix. They want to run the ball first. Okay, they're a run first team. They like the quarterback that's a little more mobile. So if I was guessing, knowing kind of what Tyler Walker's offense is, they're probably leaning towards Giovanni McCoy. Just my opinion, but we'll see. Maybe we do see both of them, But again, I think the fact that McCoy's on tape a ton, Evan Simon's on tape a ton, and Joe Harasymiak and most of his staff knows him personally, I think it's a good thing for UMass.
Yeah, and I was looking at their running backs. I mean, Jay Ducker, who's a redshirt senior at the top.
Sam Houston, we had him last year.
Doak Walker. I think they've got 3 guys on the Doak Walker Award watch.
Yeah.
I would expect them to run the football, which I think that's going to be like a big question early on. Can UMass, again, just from a historical standpoint, has struggled in that department. So should be interesting.
Mike hit on it, and it's not rocket science, but you build your teams from the inside out. This game's going to be interior line play, right? Which offensive line I think can kind of control in which defensive line can play the best. Because I think skill aside, the quarterback, there's skill on both these teams. And then first game, right? 2 new coaching staffs. which team is cleaner, less penalties, assignment mix-ups that maybe we don't see as the viewer, but they know, oh, I ran the wrong route. Who's cleaner? That's what I'm going to be looking for.
Coaches probably laugh like all the time after week one when all of us and media and fans are like, well, they didn't do this. We didn't see it in the passing game. We didn't see it. They're not loading it all up in week one. I mean, they have a systematic plan, right? With what they're putting in, when they're putting it in, how they're doing it, what they're showing you. Like, they're not going to unload, the whole chest like in week one. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't happen that way.
Couple of things here. First of all, does it surprise you that Rene says the game is built from the inside out and came on the ground and all that stuff? Yeah, okay. Shocker. But one of the things, actually, let me switch sports. Our good buddy Frank Martin on the basketball side has always told me, he's like, now that we've got players being compensated, now that things have changed, we need more time to practice with these kids, especially, football, the window is so short. It's so highly monitored. And then you got a game, they're going to fly them to Dublin to have K-State, Iowa State play a slot fest for the first half because they're just not ready, right? So I think you're right, Rene. How many false starts are we going to see, right? Can you limit it to 2 the first game? Like, if you do those things and you get a turnover, I think Coach Harasymiak has this number off the top of his head in his press conference. He says, look, the last 10 years in college football, if you win the turnover battle by 1, you have a 60% chance to win. If it's 2, you have an 85% chance to win. So early on, I feel like is when you can kind of, you could be the cleaner team, maybe not the more talented team, and end up coming away with a win because you played a more cohesive brand of football.
And I use this in my broadcasts, and I've probably talked to thousands of coaches in my life. You throw the ball to score points, you run the ball to win games. And that means you close at the end of the games, those 4-minute drills, 4 minutes left, and you're up. You have to get first down. So I'm excited for this one. Jake, for people that are still like, I'm old school. I listen to the radio every time there's a game on the car. I'm listening. Where can UMass fans, if they're not at TV, where can they listen to you?
So we're on the new setup this year because ESPN is our MAC partner, and so I am no longer doing the TV games at home. I'll be on the radio with Matt Goldstein, Nathan Strauss, Adam Frenier, our broadcast crew. So we are on WHMP locally, 101.5, and then on the Varsity app, which is the Learfield app, which is great, by the way, because you download the app and you can flip back and forth between broadcasts. You can listen to a ton of college football. They have the Blitz, which is the red zone channel where they flip around to different games that are going on live. So I would recommend, downloading the Varsity app because then you'll get our football, basketball, and our hockey broadcasts all there as well as our podcast. So that's a great question. Thanks, Rene. That's where you can grab us.
Jay, wait, hold on, Mike, before you jump in there. Who says we're mean to kickers? Matty Goldstein's the analyst.
Yeah, right.
Nice to kickers, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. We give them enough of a hard time.
Now, Jay, you can give him crap in the booth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But look, he played, and we need. I tell this to Matt all the time. Rene, Matt. You guys, Gridiron Club. We need people to be invested in Massachusetts football, and Matt has been invested for such a long time. Yourself as well. Yeah. And I just love it. I welcome, if anybody is ever an alum or just wants to be involved, like, come on by, man. We'll put you on air. We'll talk to you about your time here. We'll go down memory lane and make you become part of the program again.
I would love to. Matt for a long time. He's a great analyst. I just kid him because I kid that he's a kicker. He understands the game. He does a great job. And to your point, Jay, he understands UMass football as well as anybody out there. So you guys are going to be a great team. Sorry, Mike.
No. And Jay, what about Coach's show with Coach Harasymiak?
They haven't locked that in yet, so TBD on that. But as you can see, I've built this studio space over at the Mullins Center. I literally just finished painting it last night this morning. So hopefully we'll have something on that soon. Yeah,
that's great. Well, look, no, and I'm not just saying this. You're on here. I've told you this before. You do a great job, both radio and TV. We'll make a push for you for ESPN because
that's all good, man. I
went through a ton last year. I'm all on my phone. I'm on the road. I'm like, there's Jay. I'm like, you sound great.
That's it. I appreciate it, man. And look, like the beauty of it being here is I grew up here in Western Massachusetts. My mom is asking for tickets to come to the game on Saturday, and that means the world to me. And that's really what matters most.
All right, before we get Jay out of here, Mike, two things. One, next year when he comes back, we'll probably have him on the because we're going to do.
Yeah, I'll come back on. You guys bring me on.
We're going to have you on again, but next football season. We're gonna have a bowl picture back there behind Jay. Not hot. I get it. Great. National champion. We're gonna have a bowl football.
The Bahamas Bowl. Been saying it all year.
That'd be great.
There's no that is so UMass because there's no Bahamas Bowl this year. It's canceled because of they're redoing the stadium because
that's crap. Get it back.
So UMass probably will qualify for the Bahamas Bowl this year because it's not in the Bahamas. So with that said, Jay Burnham, give me your prediction. I'll ask Mike his on the 2025. UMass team wins and losses.
So this is tough for me because my paycheck does come from the University of Massachusetts. So I, always have to err on the side of optimism. But I see the fact that can you win against Temple? Can you beat Bryant? You've got Kent State, which has struggled the last couple of seasons. People are going to say Akron is a pushover. They are not. Joe Moorhead is a great coach. They won 4 games last year. That's not going to be an easy road game. But because of what happened last year, where you were close against Eastern Michigan, you were close against NIU, you're close against Miami, can you be just a little bit better and you win 5 games? Right. So obviously I'm hopeful for 6. I would take 5 in a realistic setting. I think there's a lot of fans that say, look, can you win 4? Start building this thing because it hasn't happened in quite some time, but give me 5 wins.
5 and 7. Mike, go.
I'm saying 6 and 6. I mean, I'm saying that is the goal. That is the benchmark. I mean, I don't mean to put any pressure, but it's like, again, if you had to talk to anybody in any sport, any field, it's like, you just got to be 500. And I know it's a lot harder in football, and I get it. We've gone through the schedule, but it's like, I mean, this staff, what I've seen, what I've heard from you, Jay, from Bamford, from all the great guys that are at Minutemen Command doing all this work and these recruiting and talking to these players and coaches. This is different. Like, this is different. And you're absolutely right. What you just said is what I'm thinking. They were right there last year, and they don't have all the pieces and the resources and the things that we just talked about this year. So it's not like you were getting your ass kicked. Like, you weren't losing by 30 and like, oh, well, now we got to win 3 games, then 4 games. No, they should have won those games last year. Yeah. So just a little bit better. You're exactly right. You said it perfectly. Can you just be a little bit better, which is like, don't blow the game. Don't mess up something on special teams. Don't give up an 80-yard touchdown run. Don't frig it up in overtime, which you should have won. I don't even talk about it. 6 and 6 to me.
All right.
I'm not going to say 7 or 8. 6 and 6 bowl game. That's my goal.
We talked about this on an earlier podcast. I think they get to November with 4 wins. So you got to go 2-2 in November.
Yeah.
Akron, Northern Illinois, Ohio, Bowling Green. Not going to be easy.
No.
I think they go 6 and 6 as well, Mike. If they do fall short, I'm with you, Jay. I think it's 5 and 7. I think
and to clarify, I'm just under promising and over delivering. All right,
I get it. Yeah.
By the way, I think the total is 3 right now. I don't think it's 4 yet, but 3 schools have UMass as their homecoming opponent, which hopefully that fuels a little fire in their belly.
Yeah, and look, I mean, that's something we've dealt with for a while, and so we've got to change the story. And there's a couple ways we can do it. Obviously, winning helps, but we have to change. And this was the message from Ryan Bamford in our all staff meeting on Monday. He said, look, we have to expect to win. And so there's no more excuses. There's no, hey, well, this happened. You have to expect to win. And I love that. And I think that's the mentality that we have to have to change the aura around UMass football.
And to Mike's point, real quick, too, I love that. Expect to win, not only on the field, off the field. Concessions, things you're doing for the students, giveaways, broadcasting. We have to win as a school in every category.
And I know you guys, this probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but from what I see here and the effort and energy that they put into mental health, nutrition, career guidance, I mean, it is significant. And so I don't know if those things will directly translate in the modern era where it just might be how much money you're going to pay me.
No. Yes, it will, Jay. Like that.
I hope it does. I really do, because what Ryan Bamford has done here is he's significantly invested in those areas. And as someone who watches these student athletes, hopefully the ones that stay, you're able to really build these relationships with these kids and see how all those things have been able to help really grow them into the people that they end up becoming. So I think that's still important. I know the world doesn't, but they've really invested in that here at UMass.
No, it is. It is. Jay, thanks so much, man. It was awesome talking to you. Have a great call Saturday, and look forward to catch up again.
I hope to see you guys in the TV booth.
Have a great season, Jay. We'll catch up with you, buddy.
Right, thanks so much.
All right, see you, buddy. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna make a push for that first MAC game,
which is Northern Illinois. So we're making the official push now. I'm going to see our boss Friday night.
Good.
Okay. I will be in Charlotte, so I'll mention it to him.
Tell him and I'll email him as well. Look, I mean, Jay's right. Like, that stuff is important. You know why? Because that's also the retention piece. And listen, you know the sayings. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. If you're struggling with something mentally, you're not going to put the performance on the field. You're not going to be all in. That stuff's huge. That's very important. The nutrition, team meals now, all that stuff that Coach Harasymiak was like, what are we doing here? Some of this shit, this wasn't even Division I football, right? And now it is. And to your point that you made at the beginning of the podcast, that's why I'm saying 6-6, and I'm not going below that. You just saw the first game of the season. You got your ass kicked last year, then you flip the tables and you kick their ass. Like, all the difference that you can make in 1 year, and this isn't any pressure on Harasymiak and his staff. I'm not directing it at them like, you got to do this. I'm just saying in general, because I'm confident from what they've been doing, that I'm like, this is legitimately able to happen. Don't tell me you can't turn it around in 1 year now. You can. UConn did it last year.
Said it a million times. Everybody listening to the pod knows what I'm going to say. Just look at Buffalo. What Pete Lembo did in that turnaround from 1 year to the next. Not only went to a bowl game and won, they were in November. They were in it to get to the MAC championship game. So it can be done. Speaking of Joe Harasymiak, you want to give a little plug here for next week?
Yeah, we are fired up. He's joining us next week on the podcast. So next Wednesday's show, we'll be talking to the head coach of the Minutemen after week 1. Get his thoughts on that. A little bit of preview for week 2. So coach is joining us next week. So do not miss out on that one.
It'll be sweet with a win, that podcast. Yeah. So let's all have positive thoughts, and let's have a great week. Week 1, college football.
Yeah. Rady, great to see you. Good luck in your 2 games. We'll be watching UMass Saturday, and hopefully it starts off with a W. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy college football.